Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, three-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for checking us out. We are the Uncle Puckers, Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony. I got to stop playing that. Sorry.
Chris, will you warn me before you play that? Next time I thought it was air raid sirens in the neighborhood.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for checking us out. And real quick, wherever it is that you're listening to us, a positive review, 5-star rating, a like and subscription on the YouTube channel goes a very long way to us promoting the show. So please, if you get a chance to do that, check us out. So that's about it. So what's up, boys?
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
What's up?
Oh, man, we're a month away. Well, a little over a month, right?
Getting impatient. I don't know about you guys getting impatient.
It's an exciting time
season.
when you're in that 30 mark, and then it's also an exciting day. We got a loaded show.
Yeah, it should be a fun show. Tony's got a bunch of stuff that he's going to kind of take over, and
We got football, Chris. We got some football
I'm so
tonight.
excited for tomorrow. I really am. I am so friggin' excited. I'm very nervous, but I'm excited. At this point, everybody feels like they have a shot, and then by tomorrow night, half of us will feel like, fire the head coach, get rid of the quarterback. This sucks. It's going to be a long fucking year, and that's how it's going to be.
The good thing about football is, you sometimes really know if your team's out of it in 4 weeks, right? 4 or 5 weeks. You feel like, all right, we're done.
Well,
don't need that stress anymore.
A lot of teams, you do know. Sure. If I look at the Vikings schedule right now, I look at their game tomorrow, which is a very winnable game. But if they shit the bed, then they go on a short week Thursday to Philadelphia. That's probably going to be an L. And then you got 10 days from then, the Chargers coming into Minnesota to play them. That could be an L. So if you stumble tomorrow, you could be 0-3. And
his head's just going, guys.
It's a tough place to get out of. It's a really tough hole to get out of.
And see, for me, if the Raiders win tonight, which obviously I'm ahead of you guys, so I'm already into that day, Sunday.
Yeah, but it's still tomorrow, though.
If the Raiders win tonight, we're in first place for a week because KC lost. So that's what we're thinking over here. And as a Vegas fan, you got to think of the positive.
Yeah, but if the Chargers win tomorrow, then
Chris, stop trying to piss on my fucking parade every goddamn episode, motherfucker. Every episode, you're like, we're worse than you. Let me have some fucking doom and gloom, man.
What? Well, you just said you would first in the division if you win. You wouldn't be
for
if
1 week.
The Chargers win.
Yo, Dan, you want to go grab a beer while
I
we
know,
do this?
That sounds good.
Go ahead, Tone. You got some stuff? Let's go.
Yes. So I put together this little thing. It's kind of like the end of we have 30 days left, but it's been a long off season, right? So everyone's trying to fill their shows with shit, and I just threw some odds and ends together. It's kind of like that. I'd like to call it. I guess you would call it the love-hate part of the show, like the band with Jizzy Pearl. But so I'm going to start out, and I'm going to ask you guys. You remember Love Hate at all?
Yeah, sure.
There you go. Yeah. So I'm going to start out, and there's basically 13 different things here, and I'll start out with the first one, and I'm going to ask you guys. I'll actually give my answer first, and I'll go to you guys. Okay. So we're going to start out with the least favorite NHL team. We're going to try. I wanted to try to avoid using the Devils in these because most of these will be of course, we're going to pick the Devils for some of this. So maybe kind of leave them out of the equation. Why would you pick
the Devils for your most
hated
aside
team?
From this question?
Not this question, Chris.
Oh.
But, other ones, yeah. So I'm going to start first. I'm going to say least favorite NHL team myself. Of course, I think we're all going to have the same answer. So it's going to be the Rangers. It was a toss-up between them and Philly. Philly would be my second, but I'm going to go with the Rangers. I guess we could go Dan next and go around Chris, Bobby.
Yep.
Okay. So you want the top two or just my –
You can go either way, but your least favorite NHL team, which I would go to because I think we pretty much know who your first is going to be because we all grew up together feeling the same way.
And I agree with you. It's Rangers, Flyers, they have to win there. If I had to go outside of that, I might pick Toronto. I feel like Toronto's the New York Rangers of Canada.
I think the Rangers for me are always going to be the most hated team, but that second one does fluctuate a little bit, kind of with where they are as well. Like, I don't feel that the Flyers are any kind of threat, so I really don't care what happens to them. So I find it hard to hate them. I do hate Toronto. So
have you been to Philly for any games?
No, I have. But I'm just saying, as of this moment, like, they're not a threat. Like,
More of a
I
joke,
just sit there
really.
and say I hate them. Like, I do hate them, but I hate Toronto more. Yeah. Especially you go back to, like, what happened last year with the streak and how it ended, and just how every single fucking hockey fan that's on the radio or anything, it's all about the Maple Leafs all the time. Like Dan said, it's the Rangers and the Maple Leafs. The other 30 teams should just get out of the way because it's all about them. So those are probably the two I would put that I hate the most.
Mr. B?
Yeah, I got to go. I mean, most hated team is the Rangers for sure, and this is going to be slightly different than a question that's going to come maybe about the fans, I believe, a little bit later. But as a team, yeah, it's the Rangers. It's not even a question. Just can't stand them.
Do you have a second?
Well, given my geography, yeah, Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so and if you say if the Devils left town, who would be this was the second part of the question, who would be your second team? So not only your second favorite team, but who would be, if you had to go to pick another team to root for?
Yeah. That's tough. I mean, I might just go like far away and some other, if I have to have a new team, maybe that team should be new. So I'll just jump on Seattle, I don't feel comfortable really picking any team, but that seems like the best match if I had somehow lost my Devils and they're far away. I don't have any hatred from them for any past playoff series or anything else like that. So maybe Seattle.
For me, I like watching a lot of the teams out west. Anytime I can catch an Edmonton game, or Dallas game, Colorado game, Seattle game, I always watch them. Because I like, you don't get to see them a lot, so I do like them. So like Dan said, first Seattle, I would definitely probably root for them, but because of a geographical conflict, I probably wouldn't be able to follow them a whole lot.
Right? Are you ever going to watch them live? That's the only problem with that idea.
So if I was going to pick a team that I actually could watch and maybe even go to see somewhat close by, I'd probably go with the Buffalo Sabres.
Okay.
But, I'd probably go with Buffalo. Like I said, a Western Conference team I would like.
Closest to us that I hate the least. Buffalo.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. I always kind of dug Buffalo. I loved Hasek when he was there, and I like this new Buffalo team, and I really hope that they make the playoffs because I think there could be some playoff series down the road in the next few years of Devils Buffalo. That could be a lot of fun to watch. So I'd probably go with them.
Tony, just for the record, you did not answer first, so why don't you just go like we normally do and answer last, and I'll fill in, and then you can jump in. It's your question. This is not the first time I thought of this, actually, because this was a very real possibility in 1995 after winning the Stanley Cup. And at the time, I had only been a fan for basically two runs, the 94 playoff run, then all of 95 and the Stanley Cup. And I was devastated with the concept that they might be leaving to Nashville, and I started thinking then, who would I be a fan of? And right away I knew it couldn't be any of the three major locals. Like that was just not going to happen already. Even just 1 year being a Devils fan, there's no way I was going to Philly or New York team. And I originally thought like Montreal, but I think I settled at the time on like Washington Capitals. It was kind of close enough to get there, but not a direct competition like the Rangers and the Flyers and the Islanders. But as of late, I'm kind of with what Dan said. Like, I'm on board with the Kraken, man. I love the Kraken. Like, I could totally see myself being a fan of them. And as far as watching it live, I don't do that now, so that's not a problem for me.
How far are you from Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh, that's the other side of the state, so that's like 5 hours.
Like 5 hours, okay.
Yeah.
And so
I could never be a Pens fan either because my introduction to the Devils was, beating the Pens and a rivalry with the Pens. That didn't work either.
It's really hard to pick a team that like you spend your whole life, rooting against every team around here. So that's why like out west would be, but I would also, if I would never want to watch games or at least normal times. Like I don't want to be up at 10:30 at night every night to watch the Kraken. So
that's
I would
problem there.
say Buffalo, but I think it's a general consensus, at least with the three of us, that Seattle is definitely up there. Like, we all dig Seattle.
Yeah, there's something charming about that, man. I like it.
Yeah. Didn't Lance from the Brew Jackets, didn't he pick them to make it to the finals?
He did. I don't know if that might be asking a lot, but who knows? Maybe Lance knows something we don't.
I think it's asking a lot. But they knocked off the champs last year.
They had a great run.
I got to tell you, too, honestly, my kind of honorable mention here, which is weird because normally if a team takes away a championship from me, I generally hate that team. But I've just never hated the Avalanche. And I've just always kind of liked them. I liked watching their team in the 90s and playing those Red Wings series. Sure. So they were close. But overall, I went with the Kraken. The Kraken.
How about you, Tom?
It's really hard to pick a second team. I don't know. I've thought about it. I think I would go with Ottawa. I always liked the Yashins. I like the Alfredsons. I love Brady Tkachuk. So I mean, I would probably go with them. I even liked back in the day. I even liked when they had Ron Tugnut and those guys So I think that would be a go-to team for me. Like I said, it's really hard to think of not being a Devils fan because I've been a Devils fan since I can remember. So, but I think Ottawa would probably be my. I mean, I have some hatred towards Ottawa. They've been a pain in the ass for the Devils in the past, so it's kind of, but I mean, I think that would be my go-to. The next one, which I think will be kind of interesting here, I think I could know what you guys are going to say because we've past conversations, but next one is favorite NHL arena visited. We can start with you, Dan.
Well, I know which one I had the best time in. I'm trying to think if I went to any others that maybe was a better arena, but I don't know about that. I mean, it's got to be Montreal for me. I had a great time there. We were talking about this not all that long ago, and I think we all agreed the people there were great. It was a fun town to be in, and it was a cool arena. You know what, though? I mean, we were in their new arena. It was that, wasn't quite long enough to be the old Montreal Forum. What I would love to do is to go back in a little time machine and see that Montreal Forum and old Maple Leaf Gardens and some of these old arenas, but even their new place, it was a lot of fun. So I'll pick Montreal.
Can we say Providence Civic Center?
That was fun too, right? We went there for pre.
Say whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
NHL teams. I mean, the Providence Civic Center, they were all minor league games, but we had a ton of fun there. But as far as NHL, it's Montreal. So
yeah, I mean that makes me think. I've seen the Hershey Bears play. That's pretty cool too. That is a neat little arena. I wasn't that impressed where the Titans were playing.
No,
did you go?
I wasn't.
We went to a game there together.
Yeah, I think we went.
And it was this very basic place.
Yes.
But the coolest arena that's not NHL that I saw was Princeton. Where the Hobie Baker Trophy is and everything. That's a really cool old building.
I've never been there.
Yeah. Cool.
How about you, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys that we had such a fantastic time in Montreal. That was initially what came to me. But to answer the question the way I thought it was meant to be asked, just kind of the arena, the amenities there and what's around it. I actually had a really awesome time, too, exploring the Capitals arena. I saw that. So as far as the arena goes and what it offered and amenities and stuff, I'll actually go with Washington.
Okay. I see. Never been.
And kind of like Bobby said, I'm going to go with that kind of outlook of it. And I got to say, Amalie Arena is beautiful. It's a really nice setup there Tampa has. It's a beautiful arena in it, like the outside of it, the inside. So I'm going to go with Amalie on that. The next one is it could be closed or not closed, but what is the least favorite arena you visited in your lifetime?
Oh, MSG.
Easy for me.
I was at Madison Square Garden, and I didn't go there for a hockey game, but I went there for a concert, and it is just such a piece of crap arena. Plus, everybody who works there is just the biggest jackass you ever seen. I mean, they are all just really shouty security guard types everywhere. And I just think the way it's laid out is crap. Everything about it I hated. I think where you sit to see the games, it's not even a great view. It's all obstructed by all kinds of stuff hanging from the rafters way lower than most places. And I hate MSG.
I don't like Madison Square Garden either. It's the world's most overrated arena. I don't like it, but I'm not going to pick that for my, I would say the Phillips Arena in Atlanta. Maybe it has to do with the fact that I saw a Thrashers versus Coyote game that kind of made it even worse. But it was, it was basic, and the fans were just fucking, the ones that were there were just not into it. It was a very boring place to see a game, and I know it was Atlanta, so they were never fully behind the Thrashers there. The Thrashers really never had a chance, but that arena was, to me, just, the whole experience was just boring. I did not feel like I was at an NHL game at all.
Right.
So I'll go with Phillips Arena in Atlanta.
I'm going MSG, just hands down. I do hate that arena. Like you said, world's most infamous piece of shit. Like, I don't love anything about it. It's garbage. It's terrible to watch hockey games on TV. It's terrible to be there. It's old. There's not much they could do. Like, they're stuck, right? So they can try to renovate it and do everything they want, but it's never going to be the new arena like the Devils and stuff.
It's
and I don't
pig
like
on a
it.
lipstick thing.
It's dim. It's dim and dull. Yeah,
I read something about them maybe getting kind of evicted from there because they're like part of the train station, and Penn Station, and there's some problem between the city and MSG about the way they run things. And I would love that. That'd be great. Just get
Well, what do you think would happen? They'd probably move over to the Barclays Center and play in Brooklyn.
Maybe. I don't know. That is a better facility. I saw Ross right there.
I've never been there, but I heard it's a great facility. So I mean,
it's murder to get there though. Like all the these people from North Jersey who want to go watch the Rangers, they would not like going to the Barclays Center. I don't think it's the parking's horrible and everything. That's the only knock I had against the Barclays Center. It's way better than MSG.
I don't know, but the Rangers, I mean, they've been around 100 years, right? This is their big. They haven't played at Madison Square Garden the whole time. Like, is Madison Square Garden 100 years old? Like, where did they play first?
They played at another arena. I don't remember the name, but they did play somewhere else first. I want to say it was over near, was that the Rockefeller Center? I think they played somewhere near that area.
The other train station, that's that area.
They played at the ice skating rink by Rockefeller Center, where you go ice skating. That's where they played. That'd be cool, outdoor rink.
Right? It'd be great to just watch the Rangers there.
I'm going to say MSG also. I also had the Spectrum in there, and that was more from experience, personal experiences going there. But yeah, I'm going to say MSG also. And so the next one, I'm going to start doubling up these questions. I'm going to do, so what is your, Dan, we're going to start with you. What is the most hated fan base, and what is your least favorite fan base in NHL?
Least hated, right.
Yeah, so the vice versa on that.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so most hated, this is so tough because Ranger fans and Flyer fans, they didn't want to outdo each other. Like, who's the biggest?
That's a perfect way to say it.
It's amazing.
I love it.
Just when you think one has won the battle,
it's not who has bigger dicks; it's who's a bigger dick.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tough because of what Chris said earlier. It's very true. You almost feel pity for these asshole Flyer fans, because they're having the worst years of their, a couple, when was the time the Flyers were this bad? It's been a while. So it's kind of hard to pick them, but boy, are they special kind of assholes. That's a tough call. I guess I will go with the Flyer fans. Maybe they, they got the whole city of Philadelphia thing. It's just, those fans are the worst. I'm going to go with them. And then for the ones, I don't know, there's so many, I think, that are like neutral or whatever. I'm going to go back to something we just had personal experience with, and I have been
Montreal
at a small number. Yeah, it's got to be Montreal. The people there were great. I remember talking with them. It was fun. It was like, it's being in Montreal is like being in a different country a little bit.
And it
is
literally a different country.
Yeah,
exactly like that.
Especially for
it's like you have to have a passport and shit to get in there.
Very true. But I mean, even for Canadians, it's like being in a European country with all the French stuff.
There you go.
And they were very cool.
So, real quick, the Rangers started playing in Madison Square Garden in 1926. So they have been there their entire career of the New York Rangers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really? I thought they had played a different rink at one time.
They did not play
fucking all that mold
in front of Rockefeller Center by the tree.
No, they didn't. Now it's the most hated and most liked.
Least hated.
Yes, least hated.
Most hated and least hated fan base.
Yes.
I mean, Ranger fans are douchebags, no doubt, but at the same time, I've kind of met more Ranger fans that you could have a normal conversation with. It's really hard to do that with any Flyer fan. Like, for the most part, they're just living in some fucking bizarro world. They're idiots. They harken back to, like, when you're talking to a Flyer fan and they got to bring up Bobby Clark, and those great teams, it's like, dude, you got nothing. If you're still talking about John LeClaire and the Legion of Doom and all the other shit. So I would probably say Flyer fans are the most unreasonable douchebags. I haven't been around Bruin fans enough to really put them there, but I would bet they would probably be right up there.
Yeah,
and I know they're just like, and I'm sure they're Red Sox fans and Patriot fans, so I'm sure they're douchebags.
That's what I mean. The whole city package there. That's
Montreal fans. I mean, they treated us very well when we were there. So I can't really say anything against them. They would be the least, least disliked. Is that what we're doing?
I guess that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of the least disliked.
Least disliked. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No surprise here. I'm ringing the same bell as these two guys. I mean, for me, it's Philly. As much as I'd want to do the Rangers, they don't understand. Like when I moved here and coming from an area where you could stand next to your three best friends and have three different hockey teams as your favorite team, and it sucks that you don't get along in that particular thing, but it's not like the hatred that is here, where they have like one singular point. And it's all about Philly. It gets pretty annoying. And personal experience, like being at a Devils game, I was there and I think it was the opening day game, and we were losing, and this guy was like taunting me. We're getting a little chippy, and he just literally like undid his shorts and dropped his pants, like standing in the aisle. Like, look at us. What did you do, Bob? We're so much better. I was furious. You kidding me?
Did you strap up your knee pads? And
right on.
Bobby dropped his pants down, too. And
Bobby, I got security over everything. I'm like, you're going to let this guy? I'm like, I got 2 kids. They're going to see this. I didn't even have a kid yet, but I was just like rambling shit out, just like trying to get this guy kicked out, because it was just like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to drop your pants in like celebration that you're winning? It was just horrendous. And I was just but then living here. Now, it's funny because the inverse of that is like, the minute I moved here, we were like a mile from like the local bars. Jamie was out. I said, oh, yeah, I'll meet you out. It was Devils Flyers at the local, Cheers bar. And I walked straight there with my Devils jersey on, watched the whole game with everyone I met here. Like, Devils lost that game, and it was still cool. It was fun. We were just normal sports fans. But take it out of that, after you get rid of my friends, it's just horrendous. So, yeah, Philly for sure. And then, least hated or most favorite, again, 3 of us, Montreal. Just never met fans like that. It was so welcoming and so good to just talk hockey.
They were cool.
Just love them.
What the Philadelphia fans are like? It's like the movie Billy Madison, the Doyle Rules.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a cult. They're all like a cult, and they're all living in a fantasy world that somehow they're the best at everything. They're not just cheering for their team; they're really deluded.
And it's not only them; it's their Eagle fans are rough too.
I said the whole city of Philadelphia. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the Flyer fans too. I've been to some games over there, and it was just a miserable experience. It wasn't even fun to go to it. And for least hated, I'm going to go for Kraken because I just haven't had enough experience with them. I already find the Vegas fans getting a little annoying, so I'm going to have to go that route. So I'm going to go with the Flyers and Kraken as my least hated. Now, next one is going to be favorite current NHL player and least favorite current NHL player. And Dan, you can.
And we can't use Devils, right?
Yeah, let's stay away from the Devils on this one. There'll be a question at the end. We can use the Devils, but
oh boy, I always like the goalies. Probably one of my favorite goalies is in the twilight of his career, which is Marc-Andre Fleury. He's fun to watch. I feel like he's one of the last goalies with like a real flair and style that you just don't see anymore. And I don't know if we're going to see it again, but. I don't even know what his status is and how long he's going to be here, but I'll take him as a current one. And the least favorite, I don't know, man. Boy, I tell you, I know he's a good player, and everybody says they want him on his team. Last year, all that bullshit with what's his name, Gudas from
Gudas,
Florida. That was pretty. Now that's like the last thing I saw. So I'm like, I just walked into the room and said, "I love Lamp," but that's and he just popped in my head. I guess a lot of people have a problem with. What's his name? The Washington dude. He's kind of a douche.
Tom Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson. I don't know. He never really got under my skin. Same thing with, Marchand. I kind of dig that kind of Claude Lemieux style and to an extent. And I know he's a shitbag, but he's a funny shitbag. He really is. And I get a kick out of the guys like that. So, those are usually like some of the most hated guys. Loved and hated. I don't know. I'm going to stick with Gudas just from that one move. It was so douchey, again, screaming in the goalie's face after they scored, after he got away with a penalty, just not being cool and like acting like you've been there,
This is tough. So, I mean, I'm a big Mark Stone fan. I like him. I like a lot of, I like Jason Robertson. I like a lot of guys, but I love dudes.
I love dudes.
I would probably
isolate
Mark Stone, and then my least or most hated. I just can't fucking stand Chris Kreider. I fucking
that's a good one.
despise
Chris hates him. Yeah, you can
That is a good one.
hate him.
Venom for him.
I don't like him. I think he's just, first of all, he plays us very well, so that's a reason. I find it when I watch Chris Kreider, it's one of those people, like, I feel like he should not be nearly as good as he is. Like, he doesn't have, like, he does a lot of the little things, he gets in front of the net and he blocks shots, and he starts a lot of his offense that way. But I feel like his skating, his puck handling in general, like, I'm like, why is this guy so fucking good? And then 2 years ago, he had, 52 goals? Like, I thought that was just a fucking anomaly. I knew that wasn't going to happen again. So I just don't like Chris Kreider. Oh yeah, and then he plays for the Rangers too. So I think I would. I would probably like him. I probably wouldn't even think about him if he didn't play for the fucking Rangers.
Sure.
But because of that, I say Chris Kreider, and then Mika Zibanejad, then Panarin.
Whole
going
roster.
over the whole team. Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking about it. I was going to keep going.
I don't know. I kind of like Zibanejad. I got to tell you, like if there's one Ranger I wouldn't mind seeing on my team, it'd be Zibanejad.
All right. Well, can we just do a quick little run through real quick? If there was a Ranger that you could take and put on the Devils right now, who would it be?
You got to choose.
Well, Shesterkin.
Okay, without it being Shesterkin. Without it being Shesterkin.
Oh, okay. Then I would take Zibanejad. I really would. I like him. I like his style. Yeah. I don't know. To be honest, he's got a little bit of like he goes away problem, and we have some of that already.
Yeah.
But like I don't see him as as a consistent performer in the clutch, like the way a less talented person like Ryder might be. But
plus to get him out of the Devils games because he always hurts the Devils a little bit in the regular season.
There you go. Yeah.
I would take Keandre Miller.
Okay. Yeah.
I like K. How about you, Bob?
Yeah, Zibanejad. I hate him now, but I totally can see how I would love the hell out of him on the Devils.
It's hard to hate Fox too. He's not a bad
Fox
player.
is great.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I changed mine from Key to Fox. I'll go with Fox.
Sorry, no.
He's a friggin' stud. All right, your next question. Tone, did you have?
I think Bobby's up.
I'm up. Listen, I'm not afraid of shit. I love Ovi, dude. I do. I think the guy's great. It was February 22nd, 2000 was like the last thing I did before the pandemic. I happened to be at the Devils game where he scored his 700th goal, and I was part of the crowd that like cheered that. It was a tying goal, and it was weird dynamic to cheer like a historic goal against your team. But I literally said right after that goal, I'm like, all right, now let's just turn around and win this fucking thing. And sure enough, of all people to win the game, David Severson, with like 2 minutes left. So I got to see him get his 700th and the Devils still come back and win. And that was just a really special night. The guy's a hell of a player. I like watching him. And for least, I don't have too many guys I hate that much. So I went with Brad Marchand just because, he is a pest. Would I love him on the Devils? Of course I would. But for now, yeah, he's kind of douchey to play against.
Somebody's got to let Lance from the Brew Jackets know that it's not Severson, it's Severson.
No,
he has said Severson a million times. Talking about
Damon should go with it. He's reinventing himself to have a new pronunciation.
It's
Bobby, we have
the wildest of disguises.
Severson.
Ryan Graves is on the phone, Bobby. He'd like to speak to you about this answer that you've just given out. He is not very happy with this result.
You could have chose him.
Listen.
He's only 5 hours away.
You were just a fling, bro. You weren't here long enough.
Holtz is on deck if he gets on that roster.
I'm going to be.
I got to go somewhere.
About this though, Bobby, because actually Ovechkin could have been on my least favorite. I just don't like him as a person. I know he's got all these records. I know everybody is, got to have to say, well, he's
a douchebag.
Just love watching him play.
He's a douchebag.
He's an amazing player. I'm biased
takes that shot, it's coming, and it still keeps going in. Like he's just a great player.
Fantastic. I just can't.
I'm not saying he's not talented. I think he's a douchebag.
I'm with him.
Makes sense. So I got Brady Tkachuk on mine. Played 82 games last year. The guy's just a hell of a player. I have to admit, both those Tkachuk brothers are just two of my favorite players in the NHL. Their father was a great player. I loved watching their father play. So I'm going to go with Brady. It was between him and Keith. Him and his brother Matthew, actually. And my least favorite, Marchand. I can't help it. I would love him on the team like everybody else. I think he's a hell of a player. It's great if you have him on your roster. But at the end of the day, it drives me crazy when we play against him. He's annoying as shit.
He enjoys being such a prick, and that's what gets under everybody's skin, especially if he's doing it. I mean, you see that smile on it. He's like, "You rat-faced bastard! You know what you just did, you know." Yeah, but I don't know. I get you.
Yeah, he's a rough one. And now this one you can use a devil on if you guys want. This is favorite NHL player of all time and least favorite player of all time.
Okay, so it's what now again? Say that again.
Your favorite player of all time, NHL player,
and
of any team.
Maybe you can use a devil and a non-devil if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can go either way on this, and then least favorite of all time.
I'm going to be partial to Brodeur. It's almost like too obvious of a thing. If I had to take him off, I'm probably still stuck on a couple goalies, and I have a lot of respect for a lot of them. But as far as pure excitement and stuff, it's hard to look away from Hasek. He was fun and exciting to watch. So yeah, I'm going to be stuck there. And least favorite, is that what we're going with now?
Yeah, least favorite also.
Yep.
Of all time. Oh shit. I know I must have some better answers than I'm prepared for because I had some guys I kind of really hated. At some point, jeez. I mean, Avery pops in everybody's head.
Yeah.
Ranger. He was just such a low scumbag kind of thing he was doing. It was like basically doing Brad Marchand if he was like a complete puss too, it was just, and it wasn't very like
he's about as douchey as you get, right? I mean, I don't know if you get more douchey.
The whole league
than
got
Avery.
sick of him. It really did. The whole league was just sick of his bullshit. He kind of lowered the whole league with this. It wasn't just went far beyond being like a Claude Lemieux type. It wasn't even as effective. It was just douche chilling. So I'll go with him.
There you go. How about you, C?
Most liked. I don't want to go with a devil because it's kind
too
of obvious,
right?
like the Brodeur, Stevens, and Niedermeyer. Those guys. Of course, I love them all, and it's hard to just pick one out of all those devil teams.
Yeah, because like my top 50th devil is probably higher than my non-devil.
For sure.
That's the other thing.
I used to love watching Pavel Datsyuk play.
Yeah,
I used to love watching a lot of those guys on that Detroit team back then, but Datsyuk was a special player, and I really liked him. So I would say a non-devil would be, I like Pavel Datsyuk. Least favorite, I also really liked watching Paul Kariya, Keith Tkachuk, those guys back in the day. So they were a lot of fun. Teemu Selanne was another one I really liked. So I can name a bunch of guys I really liked. Least favorite, this is a tough one. Mark Messier. Yeah.
Mark Messier now as a broadcaster or as a player?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect.
I'm telling you, he looks like Sam the Eagle from the Muppets, man.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. So yeah, that'll be my least. So I'm sorry I couldn't give you like a narrow down for favorite because I do have a lot of guys I used to love to watch.
Yeah.
And I still do. Anytime I get a chance to watch Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, I put them on. These guys are awesome to watch. So yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm with you. Like I had a hard time. I as far as the non-devil favorite, it's so easy to say like McDavid and stuff like that. Just because of the sheer ability of this guy. Just for a devil, by the way, I had to think about this a lot. And honestly, I think Elias is my favorite devil of all time.
It's not a bad call.
It's just something about the guy just being so underrated, and then seeing everything he did, despite what people thought he couldn't do.
He kind of epitomizes the Devils.
Yeah, I just it's hard to put him above Brodeur. You know what I mean, or even a Stevens. But in a way, I just kind of relate to him more. I don't know. So for me, it's Patrick Elias on the Devils. But one guy I loved watching, and I'm a huge fan of, and I thought pound for pound, if he were as healthy, could have challenged Gretzky, is Mario Lemieux. I loved watching that guy play. So big, yet so skilled. So non-devil for me right now would be Lemieux, but again, it could change. It could be McDavid down the road. I like Kyle McCarr. Like some of these guys are just incredible. Least favorite, hands down, didn't even have to think about it, was Avery. I don't understand him. He's just a chump. What he did was ridiculous. And
Bush League.
Total Bush League. Yeah, I never liked him at all. He's the first one that came to mind. I was trying to go back and think of some of the fighters, right, that we had like some of these wars with in the 90s. I'm like, But I didn't hate these guys.
No,
I didn't fucking hate Ty Domi. I respected the hell out of Ty Domi.
They had credibility. That's why they actually
So I got
performed.
A guy like Avery, very hateable.
Yes.
So that's me.
You can't argue with that.
Devils wise, I'm going to name some. Ken Danico I loved as a player, man. Just as a guy in general, the way he represented the team. Claude Lemieux, of course, is probably maybe one of my favorite hockey players of all time. But I'm going to go with Solani as a non-Devil because I really loved watching Solani play. I think that dude was he was captivating. Guy was just awesome. I mean,
65 goals his rookie year or something ridiculous.
Insane.
He's like so smooth too.
Yeah,
he
was one of the first.
One
of the first dudes when he came in to have that style. That's like a lot of dudes now play. Those speedsters, but he was like a guy that was cut from a different cloth when he came in. And it was like, holy shit, where the fuck did this guy come from? He was fun.
I know he was not the first Finnish player, but the league exploded with Finnish players after him. They got way more because of him.
He was, he opened the door. I mean, he was amazing. So I have to go with him. And least favorite, there's a reason why it's not Messier, because I can't stand Messier. But Messier got stuff done. And like we all said, there's one guy who's just basically a shit talking, like took it down to like, there's a difference between people would say, oh, Claude Lemieux is this and this. But there was Sean Avery took it lower. He took it to about as bottom barrel as you can get, almost like insulted the game. And we all know what he did with the Billboards.
He did.
He did.
Just a total game.
ECHL wouldn't put up with that stuff.
No.
Yeah, he was just I despised him actually. And so that's my guy for that, because how can you not hate Sean Avery, especially being a Devils fan? He really just hit us.
The reason that I didn't put Avery in was just because he was such a little flash in the pan.
Right.
And now he's been out of the fucking league and off everyone's radar for so long. Like nobody thinks about him. And all this guy has is that
almost
he fucking got under Brodeur's skin kind of thing.
He wound up scoring the power play goal after all those antics on the second wave of it. And that to him is his Stanley Cup, like the biggest thing he's ever done in his world. And he actually compares himself like to Brodeur's resume, which is ridiculous. Yeah, he's a flea.
Sean Avery was living on another fucking planet, so I don't give him any fucking credibility. When you have 20 years of watching Marc Messier play, to me, I just hated him. All 20. Like I can't stand him. I know he's a great leader, he's a great player, he's this, he's that. Go fuck himself. I don't like him.
So next, the least favorite NHL mascot, and dude, I didn't realize least
and favorite.
Yeah, you got least favorite mascot. Yes, and your favorite mascot. I mean, you have and not a Devils mascot. I mean, you got Iceberg from Pittsburgh, Mike the Moose from Winnipeg. Bernie the Saint Bernard from Colorado, Al the Octopus from Detroit. There's a lot of them out there. D.
All right, so. You want the most favorite or least favorite?
Your least favorite and your most favorite mascot.
Okay, in that order. Okay, well, least favorite, I know Gritty wants to be on everybody's radar because he's new, right? Because what was the Flyers' fucking
They didn't
mascot?
have one.
They had no mascot.
No.
They were like, we told you guys when you came in 1970 whatever that you needed a mascot. You still haven't produced a mascot. Were they the only team not to have a mascot?
Maybe. And
I got to say, another one or two.
I mean, there's a lot of bad mascots. You ever see the Rangers mascot?
I'm questioning the Blue Jackets mascot now after we had those guys in.
Well, I was thinking that, Tony, and I wanted to go with that because. But here's the problem with that is actually way better than their fucking name. Okay, people thought it would like Blue Jacket the Bug is actually more interesting than the story. I know that Lance, I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. It wasn't really Lance, it was Kevin. He really loved the Blue Jackets names. He loved it. It's like Union Soldier beard. Yeah, I know, but it's like I just don't see what it has to do with hockey at all.
I still think it's a bug.
I would prefer it's a bug.
So do many people.
I would prefer it's a bug. I think it would be a better mascot. It would be a better story if it was its own mascot.
How many people heard our show last week and said to themselves, "Oh shit, it's not a bug"? Yeah, I wonder.
Everyone.
Yeah.
No, I kind of had an idea, and what gave it away for me was the fucking cannon shit. I'm like, oh, maybe it's like Union stuff. But here's the thing with that. I've read some Civil War shit. I don't remember them ever being called the Blue Coats, Blue Jackets, or anything.
No.
The Red Coats was the Revolutionary War. So I'm all confused on that. I think if you're going to do that, you'd call themselves what I don't know, whatever the fuck the name of the Union soldiers were. This Union soldiers.
Well, it says here the Blue Jackets name was selected because the name pays homage to Ohio's contributions to American history and the great pride and patriotism exhibited by its citizens, especially during the Civil War, as both the state of Ohio and the city of Columbus were significantly influential on the Union Army.
Yeah, so was many other states.
Sure.
Whatever. I don't know. I was not digging that. But now I'm just picking on names, and I will say my least favorite mascot is Gritty. They're trying to get him to do all these antics and be like the goddamn, Burger King mascot guy, and it's just so forced and bullshit. So screw that. Favorite mascot is none of them. I don't enjoy a mascot, guys. I hate mascots.
Right, that's fair. He
And
fucking hates mascots.
Don't like them.
He got red.
It's not good. It's not good.
Oh, how about you, Sig?
Mascots annoy the fuck out of me too. But if I have to pick a favorite, I dig that Calgary's dog. I think that one's pretty cool. They put little videos out and stuff out of him doing.
Oh,
some
Harvey the
crazy
Hound.
shit.
Harvey the Hound.
How long have they had Harvey the Hound? Because I feel like I've never heard of this. Is this new?
I mean, I don't know half of the mascots, so I don't know.
Tough one.
As far as my most hated, I'm gonna. I don't know enough of them. I guess.
It has to be Gritty, right?
Rangers have a mascot.
Yeah, it looks like
Sam Rosen.
End scene.
I'll take Sam Rosen.
You know what? Sam Rosen would make more sense than the guy they got. It's just a guy in a uniform, and I think he's got like
It's
a
a
stupid
power
beard.
play goal.
It's like a Ranger player. That's all it is their mascot. I don't know what his name is.
So it's just like an actual person in a Ranger
Yes!
outfit with a giant
He
foam
looks like
head.
a cartoon hockey player.
All
It's
right,
stupid.
I'm going with the Rangers one.
There you
That
go.
one I hate.
Fair enough.
How about you, Bobby?
All right, so listen, it was Gritty hands down from the beginning, right? Because when this thing came out, it was like the Flyers were like, hey, we need an idea. Let's just borrow it from the Fanatic, who's arguably one of the most, influential mascots ever. And they just took this deranged orange piece of shit and tried to be like the Fanatic. But I have changed my mind since talking with the Blue Jackets because you can't have a fucking stinger that's a bug and then tell me that your team is named after the Blue Coats. Now it doesn't even line up. So, stinger, hands down, you can't do that kind of crazy shit. We are the Devils. We have a devil. Nice and fucking simple. Some of these other things, they got an iceberg walking around or whatever the hell they have. It turns out, because I had to Google this.
Tommy the Hawk.
There's a lot of really, really shitty mascots. Like, they're awful.
Finn the Whale for Vancouver.
It's just terrible.
I was just Googling mascots too, and then I come across this thing that says the Rangers don't have a mascot. And I swear to you, I've seen a cartoon.
I saw
a drunk Ranger fan walking around.
Bears, some shit.
Maybe it was just a really ugly Ranger fan that I thought was the mascot.
Could be. Or Sam Rosen.
This.
Yeah,
And- I mean, I couldn't
officially don't.
I couldn't really pick a favorite before you go to I just looking at him. Apparently, Hunter for the Oilers is fairly new, and he's actually not a campy looking like
Hunter?
tiger. He actually looks kind of
he's a tiger.
mean. So I'll just go with that because it's not so cartoonish.
I'm going to go the same.
bad
I'm going to go
ones.
Gritty sucks. I mean, I'm not a big mascot guy either. I actually think the Devils have the best mascot personally, but San Jose Sharky, I guess his name is, because it's just a shark. And I mean, I always thought the logo with the shark with the stick was kind of cool. So, and that'll bring us to the next one. Favorite NHL team name and least favorite NHL team name.
Yeah.
Outside of the Devils, right?
Yeah.
Of course
There's
they
some cool
win the
names. There's a
favorite.
couple cool ones out there.
Yeah. Boy. So, least favorite. Oh, boy. I mean, I feel like as far as most dumb, it might be the Blue Jackets.
It's Blue Jackets.
Sorry, guys.
It has to be, yeah. I'm with you.
I really and there's a bunch I don't like. I don't like Ottawa Senators. Like, oh, we're the Senators. Like, what do you mean? And then they harken back to like Roman Senators, and it's like, no, you're Canada, dude. Like, it's not. You never
The
had
Roman
Roman
Senators invented ice hockey.
I know you got your name senator from the Romans, but you know how many countries have senators? Nobody cares. It's a dumb name. And who wants to see like senators do battle in sport? Like I just think of Mitch McConnell. I don't really don't want to think about
slow, agonizing death.
Yeah, you want to go to a game of senators? Nothing happens there. They just stand still.
That's it.
I'll
they
cut
have
you,
strokes
I'll cut
in
you.
between face-offs.
Exactly. So no, I'm not. I don't like that name either. As far as the best names, there's a couple that are cool. I hate to be like, oh, I like the new shiny thing because I already mentioned the Kraken earlier today. I think it's kind of cool. I like the mascot,
a cool name.
The name. I think they did good with that. Some of the other West Coast teams. You just talked about the Sharks. That's not a bad name when you think about it. It's cool. It's a little basic. An animal. But I don't spend too much time thinking about this because I think it's like obvious the Devils have the best name. That's for sure. Sports.
Okay, so worst name.
Favorite
Worst
name.
or first, either one.
Well, Columbus, definitely. Blue Jackets, I can't stand. I would also say, I think, names I don't like. Not a fan of the Avalanche. I don't like that name for a hockey team.
You don't like
I
the
don't
Avalanche?
like it. I don't like the Avs.
How about other disasters? Do you have a problem with hurricanes?
What's your problem with the Hurricanes, man?
I'm okay with Hurricanes.
Kind of blows.
I think the Avalanche. I just don't like that name. I don't know why.
No, I get you.
Teams I like other than the
What about
Devils
the Jets?
team
'Cause
name.
I like
That's where I'm going.
Jets
Now,
you were thinking about that.
Well, I love their logo. So other than the
think the
Devils,
logo's
I think
cool,
the
yeah.
Winnipeg Jets have the best logo. So I dig that team. I dig that name. I don't like the Flames. I can't stand that name. I think it's
really?
stupid. I like the team, but I don't like the name.
The Flames colors to me are so 80s too.
But
aren't they like they
yes.
make me think of the 80s like boom,
The
just
orange, red.
But if I had to pick a
like
team
orange and yellow.
with the Blue Jackets, I'm going to stick with orange and blue and go with the Blue Jackets and the Islanders. Those are my two most hated names.
Islanders,
the Islanders is stupid. I don't fucking like it.
I know.
So that's me.
I've always hated the Wild. I didn't get that from the start. It's been explained to me, and sure, I still just don't like it.
I like their logo.
The Minnesota Wild. It's just I don't like that at all.
The logo's cool.
And I'm not ashamed to admit that I've been on board with Seattle since they were introduced. I love the name. I love the concept. It's just it works for me. Everything about it. So I would go with Seattle for a favorite name.
I'm in the same boat as Bobby. I'm going to go Seattle for my favorite NHL team name, outside the Devils. And for least favorite, I think of Chris Hansen popping out of a back room while a man is sitting at a bar on a bar stool when I hear this team
there
name.
you go.
The fucking Predators. I don't know, man. Yeah, that is a
You're a sexual predator.
Yeah. What are you doing here today, Bob, with a duct tape and a rope?
Why is it Predators is really bad.
And then when they write about them locally, like the Preds sounds worse. It sounds like Peds, the Ped Preds.
The Predators are in town today. You're like, man, I got to lock up the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Predators is not great. And then I think their logo is what is it, like a saber-tooth
Do
they think they still have those roaming around up there? Because they don't. They're lucky if they have a mountain lion.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think they think they're still there. But
the
Predators is terrible. All right.
Next one. Favorite NHL announcer of all time and least favorite. I'm kind of interested where we're going to go with this because I have one that's
kind of
easy. I think the easiest one there. I think we're all just picking the same one for the best. It's Doc, right, Dan?
Yep, Doc's the best.
Hands down.
Definitely.
Now, how about
you also want to know the least?
Yes, which I think this might be a little different for us.
This is tough. Okay. That's not a devil?
It's not a devil.
Well, no, you can go
that we may want to get on this show.
We might get him on the show.
You can go with Cangelosi if you wanted to.
Cangelosi, definitely.
I like Cangelosi. I don't know.
Oh, man. I'll never
I know you don't
it.
like that guy.
But, that's my least favorite. But there's kind of a tie. Now, color commentary, I could never stand John Davidson. So ridiculous, a homer from a Ranger. And then you had to watch him because he got national stuff like Doc Emerson. I did not like Davidson at all. Bill Clement, oh my God. I mean, I got a lot of people I don't like, to be honest with you. I don't like.
I don't even like to watch the Devils games when they're on in this region because I can't watch it through my package, meaning I have to watch the local.
Yeah, who's the play-by-play guy for the Flyers?
I hate him.
Keith Jones and
the play-by-play guy.
Coatsy?
No,
I can't.
Whoever's the intermission guy.
Whoever the play-by-play is guy for the Flyers, he is my most hated.
He's got a real douchebag.
Yeah.
He sounds so.
Sounds like he has a fucking cold all the time.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, but obviously the best person to ever call a hockey game.
Jim Jackson.
Doc Emmerich. Yeah.
Jim Jackson.
Jim Jackson's name.
That's the
we all agree
Flyers.
on Emmerich.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. He was the best hockey announcer ever.
Second
Period.
place is so
Not
far
just
away,
Devils,
and I'm
he
not
was
even
all
knocking.
hockey.
I'm not knocking. Yeah, and I do think nobody calls a sport better than Emmerich in hockey.
No,
any sport.
Yeah, I love Doc.
How about you guys, least?
Oh, least the guy from the Flyers, Jim Jackson, or I can't stand Sam Rosen. I can't stand Steve Cangelosi. Not as much as Dan hates him, but I did not like him. I like Bill Spaulding a lot better.
What do you think Sam Rosen's microphone smells like after a game? Because he spits on it constantly.
Joe Micheletti's asshole.
It's just bad. He's got so much saliva, this poor old man.
I know.
He's like
it always sounds like he has a lump of spit in his throat.
I know. I'd like to see a
fucking
dentist
nasty.
with a little suction thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he needs.
Right before he goes on, just suck all that saliva out of his
Sam
mouth.
Rosen and Jim Jackson are my two most hated.
Yeah.
For me, again, I just announced it. I mean, it's very hard to live here and listen to those guys, and they're just awful. But honorable mentions that are really close. I can't even specifically remember why, but being here where I have to rely on a package to watch the games, a lot of times I do have to listen to the other announcers. Not as much as years ago, because they kind of give the option now, but sometimes that is still all you get. And I know I had a problem with Washington for a very long time. And the guy from Buffalo, Jeanette, I forget his name, but I know some people probably love the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. I can't fucking stand it. I thought he was like the biggest homer ever. And coming from the Uncle Pucker homer, that means it's really bad because this guy was terrible. So I might just skip the Flyers and go right to the Buffalo guy.
Yeah, I mean, you get to watch more than, I don't mean to interrupt, but you have the package, so you watch a lot more than we do. Like any game, we get the home feed, so I don't really listen to too many other guys other than the national games. And so,
national. Yeah, even how I watch the games, I get the home feeds too from over here. Right. So the Devils.
That's kind of cool, though. It's kind of. I wish I saw a little bit more of what's going on in, the arena in I don't know, like San Jose, for instance.
Well, the technology's gotten better, so now when you pick your team, you can choose to always listen to the home announcers when available. Right. But if it's a national game and it's not like the ESPN game that you get, then I might get the Blue Jackets announcers. And sometimes it's really cool because sometimes you do get a totally different perspective of a team that gives us credit. And it's like it's responsible. Right. Other times you just get like 100% hatred, and it's unwatchable, or at least unlistenable.
That sucks.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Emmerich, but I'm going to go with Linda Hextall as one of the worst. I think she is absolutely awful. I remember when, she's awful. I remember when Wayne Simmons, and Pat Maroon were between benches battling, and she was in that middle booth. You know how sometimes they have a commentary person in the middle. So they were going back and forth at each other, and she was, one guy was, when Maroon would say something, she would point at him. And she's in between these guys. Yeah. And then Simmons would say something, she would point back. It was ridiculous. I just think she's really, no offense, I just think she's bad, man. She just, names calling, it's just, Bob, you've watched some of her games.
Right? You make me want to change my answer to anyone on ESPN, actually, because anytime they take over a broadcast, it is just awful. They're so behind, and they don't know how to call hockey. They didn't want anything to do with hockey for like 20, 30 years, whatever the fuck it was. Now they are, and that's where I get my package through, and they're awful.
Yeah, she's rough. But, okay, this is we only have a few more left. But on this one, this is going to be your favorite NHL team jersey, your least favorite jersey, and your favorite reverse retro.
Not Devils.
Or your least favorite. Let's go least favorite reverse retro, actually, instead of that. So, favorite NHL team jersey.
Okay, can you include Devils ones or no?
Yeah, what the hell. Go ahead if you want to.
You can.
Yeah.
Because, I like our standard, especially away jersey, as one of my favorites in hockey. I like it. It's got a great logo. I think those colors are the best. I did enjoy the retro Devils stuff, but for the sake of argument, maybe let go outside of that. That is tough. I do think there's some cool logos and colors out there, especially some of the third ones that people are doing now. I did like Winnipeg's. That was cool. They got a good logo, good colors. I kind of like Buffalo. I'm not a big fan of their 90s look, even though I love those 90s teams. But then when they went back to the yellow and blue, that was doing it for me, although I realize they're getting some of those other retro colors back now. Yeah, there were some really bad ones too. I'm trying to think. I know I've seen some that I've hated that have kind of blocked out some of those third jerseys recently from other teams. I never liked the Bruins when they went with that all gold jersey with the bear head.
The bear. Ugh.
It's like, what are you doing? First of all, that color should not be on my television. It's fucking annoying. It's like Notre Dame's helmets. You ever watch a college game? You see those gold helmet. Get those gold helmets out of here. They're so distracting. It's
what about those Vegas helmets last year? You remember those things?
Yeah,
I mean, that
looks cheesy. You know?
And the Kings wear that silver helmet now too.
Yeah, not a big fan of that either. So, yeah,
and I know you hate the Ottawa jersey, so we know that already.
Well, I just think it's kind of boring, and it bothered me too. It's like I don't know, like there's too much red and black. That's why I also didn't like when the Buffalo went to those colors. Like those are our colors. Give me a break.
Jerseys I like. I like Minnesota Wild. I like the Krakens. I like the Devils. I like the Jets. As far as ones I don't like, I can't. My most hated is probably the Predators yellow. I don't like that. Talking about like that shit.
That's on my
TV.
List too. Yeah. So
that looks like a bunch of minions playing ice skating. I don't like it.
Almost
the best
like
third
the Brewers
jersey.
So yellow.
Yeah. The best third jersey for me was San Jose Sharks, the retro reverse. Their old callback to the Oakland Seals. I loved it.
That is
pretty cool. It was a fantastic jersey, and they should wear it all the time. And change their name back to the Seals. But I dug those. Least favorite, Tampa Bay Lightning's retro were terrible. I'll go with that.
Awful.
Terrible.
Yeah. So when they got those Lightning jerseys, when they got those, I remember the morning they got those on the news, Maroon was like, what the fuck? Like, he even came out and said, he's like, it's hideous.
Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible.
Mr. B.
Listen, I mean, you put a Devils logo on anything and I'll think it's the favorite, so we're going to get past that right now. I think Dan got me a yellow practice jersey one year for Christmas, and I fucking love that thing, and it was fucking yellow. Had nothing to do with the Devils at all. I still love it because it had the Devils logo on it. But if you're talking about like favorite jerseys, I got to give like a nod to the old Whale, dude. The Whalers jerseys were pretty fucking cool.
Nice.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
More modern. Kraken. I think they just nailed it. Branding wise, I think they just did everything right. So I love the Kraken. I'll give them, but then some of the original six I really do like. Specifically Boston. I don't even know why. I don't know what the spoke represents. I like it. It's classic. And even the Leafs, to that matter. For the retros, I had to look this up, right? Because I was like, holy shit.
There's so many, I get confused.
There's a lot of awful retro jerseys, too. And I really do dig the Devils ones because we get to bring back some history and some colors. But that's not what we're really looking at here. So there was a couple that I liked a little more than others. I like the Jets because I like their logo to start, and then you put it on a retro. I thought that worked really well. The Flames was pretty cool too. But then there were some that were so goddamn awful. I couldn't believe I was looking at. Like the Panthers had like palm tree and a hockey stick or some shit.
So I didn't hate that.
I like that. I like that.
I fucking hated that. I don't even want hockey down there anymore. I think it's fucking stupid. And not the Sharks jersey you're talking about, Chris, but there's another one. I think it just says like San Jose across it, and it's like in teal or some shit. Like I don't even know how to explain it, but it looked absolutely awful. So those would be my worst.
It made me remember the Montreal Expos third jersey. I like that with the Expos colors, the blue and stuff.
Yeah. And then there was the Avalanche. Cool. They came out with one that was just like their C logo, that kind of secondary logo.
Yeah, that was our old.
And it's cool.
Exactly right.
Right, it is, but it's cool. But it was kind of too boring. Like just
don't you think that some of those they could, like Detroit's too, with Chicago's, like they could do better with these jerseys, on some of those. Like even with the Devils, me and Chris were talking about the Jersey jerseys, right? It's hard to. I feel like Marty
gets split on them. I don't know, man.
Marty should not be allowed. What do we say, Chris? Marty should not be able to design jerseys.
Playing goalie, not designing jerseys. That's for sure.
You got to put a logo on that.
I always wanted a black jersey. I wanted to love this jersey, and I'm still trying on some level to accept it.
We've talked about this what I wanted numerous times. Yeah, it's like I really want to help you love this, but.
Utica had an amazing jersey last year with the black and the red, and I think the Devils should. There was one they did last year. I know me and Chris were actually. Chris sent me a photo the other day of what was that?
Those
Chris?
were concept jerseys.
Concept jerseys.
And there were some really cool ones. One concept that was awesome, and I kind of wish that they would have
fiction concept or
a little bit. Yeah, people would draw them up and send them in to fucking try and get their jerseys made. But one of them was it was a Devil one, and it was the logo, Bobby, you were just talking about the Colorado state flag with the triangle, the mountain, but instead of the C was RNJ, And
Right.
I thought
nice.
that would be awesome for a retro reverse,
Right,
kind of
definitely.
just brings
I
the
like
whole
that.
Colorado Rocky thing around. But that was a really cool one. I'll find a picture and send it over to you guys.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so for me, it was, I thought my favorite, Kraken, like Bobby said, I think the colors of it, I just think that it's just a cool jersey. Least favorite, definitely the Preds, yellow. And the retro reverse, the Coyotes and the Lightning were absolutely awful. The Coyotes. I don't know. I've always hated their
everything
marketing.
about their logo and marketing is awful. Yeah,
it's just awful.
No, I love their maroon jerseys that say Arizona across.
Okay, that is a cool
That
jersey.
one's okay, yeah. But
There
those
was anything
retro
with an
reverses.
The socks match. That's like an all mono.
That was a really
I like that one.
sharp looking.
They do like a
original Southwest native Navajo art fox and stuff, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
It's like a Minecraft fox head.
It does look like Minecraft, you're right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I just, and the Coyotes, the reverse retro had like the cactuses on the ball. It was awful. It was like I don't know. It was just a pretty bad jersey. So yeah, we got two more here. We'll wrap this part up. But least favorite NHL coach of all time and favorite NHL coach of all time.
Oh boy. Okay, my least favorite. I got to go with the Fonz. I mean, he's like the worst, and I was so happy for the Philadelphia that they got stuck with Tortorella last year because he is the worst. I don't like him. I hate everything about him. I've never enjoyed watching him coach, act like a crybaby, all that other stuff. I've seen other coaches that kind of not a big fan of, but he's one that I never enjoyed, not even once. I didn't appreciate what he was doing. Some other guys, when they play against your team, you're like, when then you see him in another context, you're like, he's not such a bad coach. No, Tortorella, I feel like no matter who he's coaching, I just almost feel bad for those people because nobody deserves to deal with him. One of my favorite coaches that is not a Devil. Is that what we're going with?
No, you can go with. I think you can go either way on this one.
Oh, okay, because wow. I mean, my favorite coach got to be like Larry Robinson, and it's weird because I thought it was always going to be Lemaire because for what he did with that team. But then Larry Robinson was really special. But then they had so many other great coaches too. If looking in the team, like Pat Burns was amazing. So it's hard for me to get outside of Devils because I know their coaching history so much more. Other coaches I respected, before we had him as our coach, definitely was Lindy Ruff. I mean, he's been around forever, and you're always like, kind of respected him. Some of these guys I thought maybe I was starting to like, and then I see some of the stuff as they go longer in their career that's not working out too, like Paul Maurice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, it's a tough racket. The more you look at a coach and follow them over the years, you realize, man, that's like you're going to get some good times and bad times. But so it's I find it kind of hard to really hate any others like that. Not like any others. I'm going to stick with the Devils guys.
Most hated for me, Mike Keenan.
Yeah, that's a good call
Most,
too.
I don't like Tortorella either. There's a bunch of guys I don't like, but most hated, I'll go Mike Keenan. Best, if I stick with the Devils, I'll go Larry Robinson. If I'm going away from the Devils, always a big fan of Ken Hitchcock and coaches that are still coaching now, John Cooper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, John Cooper, he was pretty interesting last year. So who else was coaching last year that we were saying, wow, what a great job he did?
I tell you, I like Maurice. I know you guys aren't big Maurice guys, but I think when he left Winnipeg, I mean, I thought he took a chance.
But I was thinking, of former Flyer,
coach, right?
Brindamore.
Yeah, Rob Brindamore.
He's good.
I was really impressed with him.
Yeah, he's a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bobby.
I can't stand Torts. That's just, I don't even have to describe it anymore. I think anyone who watches hockey probably understands that. Really battle between Lemaire and Robinson. I think most people would probably just want to say Lemaire, and I understand what he did and what he started, but I personally relate more with Robinson, I think, the way he came in. And that 2000 team, to me, that was my favorite Stanley Cup. And we have the luxury of saying that, right? Because we won 3 in a short period of time. And to me, that was my favorite Stanley Cup. So I'll go with him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say, a timeline is everything, right? And I'm going to go with Lemaire as my favorite, just because you never forget your first. That was something, obviously Robinson's right up there, definitely, but I'm going to go with Lemaire. And Keenan was on. I wanted to say Keenan, Chris, but Babcock, from what I know about him, he's destroyed so many young players' careers in a lot of ways.
That's a good call. Yeah.
I don't hate Tortorella.
visible to the fan, but apparently he's had some real negative effects.
Like, bench dudes on like milestone times of their career and stuff like that, and just awful. From what I hear, just a bad dude. You know, with guys like Tortorella, like as much as he drives me nuts, I like those personalities. Like I wouldn't want him as a Devils coach, but he's entertaining. But I'm gonna have to. Keenan was definitely. It's funny because Keenan was my thing for like 3 hours, and then I said, you know what, I just can't. Even when I see Babcock, I'm just like, I would not want him anywhere near my organization. And I'm sure there's a lot of players in Columbus who are like not looking forward to this. So I'm going to go with him on that. But yeah, for the last thing, it's the 3 best hockey names of all time. I'm actually going to spit mine out because I'm afraid Bobby's going to take one of them because there is a Bob in my list. 3 best hockey names of all time. Bob Beers, who I think is just a great hockey name. He's a commentator for the Bruins now. He played with Boston, Tampa, Edmonton, the Islanders. Of course, Morislav Satan, because how could you not like Satan on the back of the jersey, in my opinion? And I would have loved to seen him be a Devil. I think it would have been a great, and the guy actually played for, he was a good player, Slovakian. And then Zarli Zalapsky, which I think is a great name too, man. Over 600 games for him, played with Pittsburgh, Hartford, Calgary, Montreal, and Philly. I think that's a great name. And it was between that and Ziggy Palffy, I like that too, was a honorable mention. There's so many great names in back in the 80s and stuff. Yeah. So that's my 3. But Dan?
I always got stuck in the old goalie names. Goalies that were played so long ago, I never really got to see them play. But I remember reading a lot about them, when I was really interested in it and I wanted to know about all these guys. In fact, I even read Jacques Plante's book. And Jacques Plante itself is not but it's kind of such a goalie name for like one of those French-Canadian goalies that I like that a lot. I'll pick him. And then, some of the guys I remember reading, like these are hockey names, like Terry Sawchuk. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. That's an awesome name. Yeah. No matter what position he was in, it's just a cool old hockey sounding name. And then, I'll throw one to a guy who, was also with the Canadians, Gump Worsley. Gump Worsley, and I remember reading some stories about him and just being such a weird dude and with a weird name like Gump. I love all that old stuff. These aren't guys I saw play. I have my favorites in that regard too. I mean, I could go on and on, but I'll stick with those 3 guys.
Oh, I don't know if I can come up with 3, but I got to put Jeff Bukaboom in there. I mean, anytime you're a defenseman named Bukaboom, that's a fucking cool name.
That's the Tikkanen. They had some crazy names back then.
Yeah, I liked Bukaboom's name. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, I think more towards like nicknames. Like Curtis Joseph is a cool name. Oh, mainly because you pull Cujo out of it, which might be the best nickname ever. But Terry Sawchuk, like Dan said, is a big one.
We had one, Will Butcher. I mean, that would, if he was a great player, that would have been like a hell of a fucking name.
If he was like a checking defenseman, sure.
Yeah, that's a great name on the back of the jersey.
Takes people's heads off.
I gotta think about my third ones. I don't know. Bob, go to you. Maybe you can jump back to me.
I'll do it. And Tony, just I think you did miss something about some of the cities that you wanted to ask too, but
I left. I kind of I could put that at the end. Yeah,
I think it's worth a quick one. So for me, Miroslav Satan, absolutely. I think that's a great name. Brad Bombardier is a great hockey name. I actually did always like Jamie Langenbrunner, but I'm not going to put him on this particular list. And just for the fact of the name and the position and his success, I'm going to go with Jonathan Quick. I thought that was like kind of a perfect name for a goalie who was pretty elite for a little while.
Yeah,
it's not like he made it up. Right? That's the only part that bothered me. He named himself,
but he didn't.
Even though they pronounce it Fost, you're a hockey player, and it says Fast on the back of your jersey.
That's so cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Quick. As long as your old lady's not calling you that, I guess you're okay on the way out.
Hey, it's all
a good
about
name
me.
for a goal.
Who cares?
No doubt.
Yeah. Chris,
what
did you figure out yours?
Man, no. I do like Jonathan Quick. That is a good one.
His real name's In and Out.
What's the
for my last one here? We got one more that I was going to skip, but Bobby mentioned, so I'll bring it in. City where you would like to see an NHL team added, but also a city where you would like to see an NHL team pulled from.
I got mine.
Yeah, wow, this is great.
You want me to go first? Pull from
if you got
New
it.
York.
Yeah, you're ready.
New York, Los Angeles.
You want to add one?
Any other city that has take away. I said any city that has more than one. Well, LA doesn't have more than one hockey team, but it has more than one hockey team. I think it's bullshit. So get rid of the Islanders. All right, they don't fucking need to be. Go move them someplace else. Make them go to Connecticut or
Connecticut,
whatever. Yeah, that's fine. But a place where I think a team should be, that I would probably say, I don't know, like. I always like you look at the big cities that like don't have any kind of hockey there, like Cleveland or Cincinnati, like any of those teams. I mean, Houston's a big city, but I fucking hate Texas, so we'll just keep them out. Quebec deserves another team.
Yeah.
It would never make it.
I had them on my
I'm
list.
gonna go. They'll never make it there. I understand that, and they'll never put another team back there. But those fans up there deserve to have. So I'll say get rid of the Islanders and move them to Quebec.
Well, that's
the
interesting
Islanders.
what you said there. I like the
Frozen
Quebec
Islanders.
thing. I understand that, and it always makes me wonder, like, are you sure there's no hope? Because I thought there was no hope for Winnipeg to get a team back, and they did. And you know what? It's a shame. I don't think the Jets name is really something they could have. They needed to keep this time around, but.
And they were talking about Quebec again, weren't they? Last season they were talking about possibly.
Yeah.
So I guess it is
But I'm happy to have hockey back in Winnipeg, and I just would be happy to have it in
or Portland, Oregon.
Well, that was actually that is you totally
New Orleans. I don't know.
Portland,
New Orleans.
Yeah. Portland has been talked about, especially when Seattle would begin to be talked about.
Right.
I like it. I like the idea. I think it'd be cool. I like the Northwest teams. Northern. You got even a couple that are borderline in California there, but you got a whole cluster, and it'd be nice to add a Portland team. I kind of dig that city. I think it's fun and different. If we had to get rid of a team, I understand you're like, who are you going to take? Texas, Florida? Like, let's Florida can lose one of its teams.
Oh yeah,
I'm having a problem
the
with
Panthers
that.
can leave there.
Yeah, but some of the stuff is like maybe on its way out anyway. Everybody's talking about Arizona might not stay there. The way it's going, they're not building a stadium, and who knows what they're going to do. I kind of don't hate the idea of hockey in Arizona, but I could see why that might be a footnote in history before too long.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it should go. I'd love to get rid of. And when you said the Islanders, it made me realize this too. Like, it's weird we call them the New York Islanders. Like, it's not the New York Sabres. It's the Buffalo Sabres.
Right.
And
the Long Island Islanders.
Long Island is not part of New York City, so it's not. I know they like
Islanders.
they're like a six
piece of repetitive shit.
Yeah, it's the Island.
Long Island
Islanders. That goes back to what you were saying about why it's such a stupid name.
Yeah,
I mean, they literally had to change the front half because the back half is so stupid and repetitive.
You're right.
But anyway, let's get rid of them just out of that sheer hatred for that name.
Okay,
nice. Yeah, I started thinking, like, initially I went to Portland, as in Portland, Oregon, right? Especially with the Kraken there, like Dan said, and they're building this nice kind of little corridor over there. And then I started thinking, what about either Portland, to be honest with you? I mean, I don't know the population in Maine, but I just think it'd be really fucking cool. Like, it's cold up there. I assume they play a lot of hockey. It would be super cool to actually see a team in, like, Anchorage, like to have something that far out. But ultimately, I'd probably go with Portland, Oregon. And as far as moving, that sounded bad.
I think it's a break-in, guys. This might be
is that a convict just breaking into your basement there, Bobby?
That's right.
I got to check that.
Check it out.
Wife's throwing shit at you.
I know who that was. I think Phoenix needs to get the hell out. It just seems like it's been a disaster since the time they got in. I'd love to say, it's going to come around, but they're playing in like a college arena now or whatever it is, and it just never ever seemed to flow. And it's not that hockey can't make it in like the southern states. It's been proven that that's fine. There's just something about that area that's just not working. So take them out of there.
I have to agree with Bobby. I think we should put Phoenix out of their misery. It sucks. I mean, I don't want to see any town lose the team. I think it's shitty that the fans have to deal with that. I thought with the Whalers when they left, I mean, it's a bummer. But I think Phoenix has to go. I think that's a definite. And Quebec, that was on my list too. So I agree with Chris with the Quebec. I always see the old Nordique pictures. I'm like, I would wear that jersey. I don't wear any jersey besides the Devils jersey, but I would.
Quebec and Hartford were both cool jerseys.
Yeah, Hartford was the best. I love those jerseys.
The whale.
Oh, guys, it's been 7 months without an NFL game, and we've been through it all, right? We've been through the combine. We've been through the draft. We've been through, OTAs and free agencies and preseason games and training camp and all the other bullshit, but it all ends tomorrow. The NFL kicks off its first Sunday, And DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the NFL, and they're giving you a can't-miss offer for Week 1. This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL game, Dan. Isn't that crazy?
That is amazing.
It is. DraftKings is hooking everyone up with great game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2, not 1, Dan, 2.
One would have been enough for me, but okay. I'll take
every single day this September.
Double down on that.
Double down. Check the app to see what you get. Download now and use code THPN to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available. For problem gambling, call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. ccdkng.co/football for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
Nice. This is Stanley Cup champion Jim Dowd, and you're listening to Uncle Pucker's New Jersey Devil podcast.
All right, and we are going to get ready to do Devil You Know, Tone?
That's right.
All right, so we're running a little long, but we will do this, and sounds like fun. Let me get situated. We're missing somebody.
Bobby does not want to play Devil You Know. He took off.
Because he knows he can't win.
There he is.
All right, so we are about to play the Devil You Know. Today, Tony will give us clues to a former devil. Bobby, myself, and Dan get the answer. We get 3 incorrect answers before we are eliminated. We can ask Tony any question that we want, and he can or cannot answer. It's completely up to him. So here we go.
Shall we play a game?
Buckle up, boys and girls. It is time for the Devil You Know on the Uncle Pucker New Jersey Devil Podcast. All right, Mr. Tone, whenever you're ready, brother.
This former devil was born March 2nd, 1991, which would make him 32 right now, if that helps at all.
32. Okay.
He was a 6'1" center. This player was drafted in 2009. This player has a left-handed shot, and the player played 315 games in the NHL.
Was he drafted by the Devils?
I'm not giving that out yet.
Okay.
But he did play 7 years in New Jersey.
7 years?
7 years in New Jersey.
For 300-something games.
Yep.
2009.
A lot of injuries going on with this guy.
He was drafted in 2009.
2009.
And he played 7 years in New Jersey.
Yep.
Okay.
And only 300-something games when you think
315 games in the NHL, yes.
So he was either in and out of the lineup or hurt.
Yeah.
And this former Devil also played a total of 8 years in the NHL.
He played 8 total years, 7 years with the Devils.
Yes.
Okay.
And one year to go retire.
Okay.
I guess.
He would play most of the games in a single season with the Devils in 2014 and 15, playing a total of 62 games where he put up 6 goals and 5 assists.
Okay.
So we're thinking about a fourth liner. I don't know. Maybe he's not. But left-handed shot, fourth liner, maybe.
Okay.
Center.
In his NHL career, he would score a total of 20 goals and 44 assists for 64 points. A plus-minus wise, he was a negative 21, and a total of 84 penalty minutes.
We're talking like 2010 to 2015, if my math serves, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming up with.
His professional career, not just his NHL career, his professional career ran from 2007 to 2022.
So, but he was out of the NHL for a while.
Yes.
So this dude just played down the minors or in Europe or someplace else.
And you said he was drafted in 2007?
2009.
Oh, he was drafted to NHL in 2009.
Yes.
That's why I said he didn't probably start playing until 2009, 2010, the latest.
His first season with the Devils.
What was how many? It was 20 goals. How many points?
64.
64 points.
So that's not a lot of points.
No.
That's what I'm saying. He's not maybe a fourth liner or something.
Yeah, in his whole career, he scored 20 goals and 44 assists for 64 points. His first season with the Devils, at the age of 19, he would play 28 games and put up 3 goals and 7 assists. It was a +5.
What year was that?
His first game was 2010, I believe.
That's what I'm saying. So
His
like
first NHL game.
2010.
Yes.
2010, and he played with the Devils for a total of 7 years. So maybe he made it to 2017 if you don't count his first year before he played in 2009. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Gotcha.
Christ.
So we got to think of that era, which is, let's face it, a kind of a dark time.
It's a tough. Yeah, right. I kind of.
I mean,
all
you
that.
got the 2012
I know.
stuff. 2012 was not a dark. That was gave you a lot of hope. Pulled the rug out pretty good, but 2012 was nice.
Okay, this former Devil won 2 medals in the World Juniors in Sweden, winning a silver in 2009 and a bronze in 2010.
So we have a
Was he
Yes,
Swedish?
He
He
represented Sweden at 4 IIHF sanctioned junior events.
So we got a 6'2" left-handed Swede, low scoring, probably played a fourth line power game kind of thing.
Yeah.
This
trying to
former
think- I
Devil
should know
signed
who
with the
this
Devils
is.
in 2010. He actually signed his contract. Signed May 14th, 2010 with the Devils.
Right. Okay.
That was his first contract with the Devils.
Yes.
Yeah, even though he was drafted by them in
Okay.
2009, and then he
is
did
it
play for.
Tenenby?
No.
Not
Doesn't
Tenenby.
sound like a Swede to me. I don't know.
I don't know last names like that, dude. Come on.
You know, they're the Sons. You know, Samuelsson. That's a Swedish name. Then you got the Sundins and stuff. You know, like the names that sound like that. Swedish names kind of stick out. Janssens, which looks like Johnson.
It's like Johnson.
I'm completely
I got nothing.
like
I got
thinking
more
about
before.
guys
Not a-
back then.
Big guy. I feel like I should know his name though.
You guys will know this guy, but it's
Bother
going to be like one of those, oh, shit. This
Yeah.
former Devil was called up from the Albany River Rats on October 14th and made his NHL debut on October 15th, a game the Devils beat the Avs 3-2. He had dealt with a thumb tear when he was slashed and underwent surgery and was out until January 7th, 2011.
I don't remember that surgery.
Again, so 10-15-2010.
Who was the fucking guy?
2010.
This former Devil scored his first goal, an NHL goal, on March 12th, 2011 against Al Matonia of the Islanders.
Fuck.
Tony Montana.
Tony
Tony
Montana.
Montana from the Islanders? Was it Jacob Josephson?
Yes,
Was
it
he
was.
on the team?
Oh,
Yes, it
there
was.
you go,
Good
Joseph.
Good job.
Nice
I
job,
have
dude.
blocked him out. That was dark time.
I'll read you a couple more I have for him, okay?
Wow,
In his fifth game-
that was a deep dive, dude.
That's a good one, dude.
He could have played this game 10 at the time. I wouldn't remember that guy.
right
In his fifth game of the 2011-12 season, the former Devil broke his right clavicle after crashing into the. This is why he missed so much time. The guy was always hurt. After the injury, he got injured again when he bumped into Pandolfa and broke his wrist. He would return on the 12th of 2022 in the fourth game of the Eastern Conference Finals. This is why I felt like he was relevant against the Rangers. He played a total of 6 games in those 2012 Stanley Cup
Do you
Finals.
want to know what?
Can I get a point on this, though?
Yeah.
Well, I'm
I-
going to say something.
Yeah, sure.
All right. How I got this. Okay,
Right.
you guys were going on about the Swedish thing, and
Yes.
you mentioned the name, and Dan's like, "That's not Swedish," and he's like, "It's like Sons
Son.
and Daniel's son." So
That's what I was
So that's where my head was. So
Daniel's
I'm like,
son gave
and-
you the answer
I
to
started
Joseph's son?
thinking. Yeah, right. I started thinking about
Jacob
other
Josephson,
sons,
yeah.
like
I got it.
like Daniel Alfredson. I started
Alfredson,
thinking
right.
of him.
I got to let you
And then,
know.
but I blanked on Devils. I couldn't.
Well, he went to Buffalo for his 8th season, and that was the end of his career. He went back to Sweden and played for U Gardens, and that was
Right.
pretty much, he played for a while there. He actually played a decent, his career ran.
Tony and I had a conversation earlier today about this particular part of the show and how bad I am at it. And I explained to him that I've got this problem in my mind where I latch onto one thing and I can't statistically get away from it. And then, you'll say something like Quebec born, and all I keep thinking of is like Canadian names. And I'm like, motherfucker, there's Smiths that could be from Canada. I can't get rid of it.
Right.
And I don't listen
looking at the other
to the clues.
Possibilities.
Right. But I don't listen. I stopped listening at that point. I just start formulating.
And you don't
And I promised Tony that was not going to happen tonight. And he refused to give me the answer.
Not everybody.
And it winds up that I still didn't fucking do that.
Well, you would not be a good detective.
Do this game.
No. Your brain's not wired to be.
I can't do this game.
There's some people who are really good at trivia. Yeah. I honestly, Chris is one of the best too because he retains everything. See, I think I was on the right track.
Yeah, you were.
Honestly, I could have guessed forever. I forgot that guy. I forgot he existed.
You
have a good memory.
I just listened. That was it. I listened to everybody talk the clues, and then you guys having your conversation, and I just kept.
And while you were doing that, I was debating why I said Tenenby. I kept going on about something else in my fucking
dwelling
head.
on that. Why am I so fucking stupid? Why am I so bad at this game?
I didn't quite go that far.
Why did I say Tenenby? Fucking stupid,
I believe I bring
stupid.
something to the show. I'll let you know when I find out what that is.
Oh god!
I mean, just starts.
Well,
we're
Bob,
looking at the screen. He's just whipping himself.
Right? Exactly.
His own
Next week,
yeah.
you don't have to worry about getting it wrong because
I
you're
get to
giving the clues. So, but I think we're gonna put the news and stuff off. But yeah, before we finish, we'll just do that real quick. We'll put the news off for next time. Tony's got it all set, so maybe we'll get some other news stories before we do our next show. But just real quick, Jamie Langenbrunner was selected to be in the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. Woo-hoo. So I thought maybe, hey, let's our little, best memory or whatever of Jamie Langenbrunner. He, played a long time here, was a captain of this team, won a cup with them. Anything that you guys want a little shout out for Jamie?
Guy was 16-year career, 2 Stanley Cups, 4-year captain for the Devils, Olympic team captain, silver 2010. The guy had some hell of a playoff runs in 2002, 2003. Remember he beat Hobby Bullen in Game 2 of Tampa. Had 7 playoff goals up to that point.
Scored some big goals.
Yeah, the guy was just
especially 2003.
Yeah, I mean, what was that? We had that 11-game winning streak, you remember? And he put the game winner up against the Canadians.
He was so clutch.
They were down 3-0, and we came back and won that game. I mean, there's just so much with that dude.
Yeah, for me, it's the 2003 playoff. I think he had 18 points. I think he was the second leading scorer on that team, for his second cup. He won in 99 with Dallas and then 2003 with us. Just, I don't think anybody has anything bad to ever say about Jamie Langenbrunner. He's just an awesome guy. He was a good captain, and I'm happy for him. I'm glad he made it. He deserves it. How about you, Bobby?
Yeah, so I was thinking back as to Langenbrunner moments, right? And they kind of just all congeal into one. Like, I was a big fan of him. I remember him like the ZZ Pop line and all that stuff, but I couldn't really remember a particular goal that really stood out from that era. But what I do recall very specifically was 2003 and what he did. And it's probably the reason he wound up being the captain a few years later, because in the semifinals against Ottawa, that was the series we weren't supposed to win. Right. And then we were up 3-1, and then it was 3-2, and then 3-3, and the series was tied. And again, it looked like the series we weren't supposed to win. And now the stories were coming out too. The Devils had just beaten the Flyers in 2000, went down 3-1, and now they're saying now Ottawa's going to do it to us. Yes. And now we're in Game 7. We're in their barn. They score first. This is written that we're going to fail. Who ties that game? Jamie Langenbrunner. Who gets the go-ahead goal?
Jeff Friesen.
Jamie Langenbrunner. No, at the time, to make it 2-1, Jamie Langenbrunner. And that's that very famous, that kind of double fist pump thing. He does that. It's burned into my brain.
I kind of forgot some of those details, Bob.
That is the game,
I remember
right?
that.
Without Langenbrunner in that game, we don't win that Stanley Cup. So he makes it 2-1. If it wasn't for Jeff Friesen's blunder, that would have been the game-winning goal. But, of course, to Friesen's credit, he then turns around, gets the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
That was like the cementing.
You take away a guy's game-winning goal and give it to yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Never
The
thought about it that way.
game in my head for Jamie Langenbrunner.
Do you guys remember 2009 when he had like 3 games in a row with 2 goals? Then they play the Pens. He ties up the game and then wins the game winner, and that in overtime. I mean, he just had some big moments. I mean, this guy was just,
you could always count on him for a clutch.
Yeah.
That's it. And he played everywhere. It didn't matter. You put him on the top 6, put him on the bottom 6, and he produced everywhere. He was a hell of a leader.
He could score pretty goals, and he could score hardworking goals.
Yep.
And, whatever you needed, he was there. He had speed. He was good.
I remember, too, if I'm right, he actually came over in the 2022 season.
Yeah.
Right, and he went on record at the preseason the next year saying, I was brought here for a reason, to score goals and help his team win a Stanley Cup, and I didn't do that. And at the time, you look at that and go, yeah, that's what every player is going to say. And then you watch what he did the next year, and he legitimately carried us for some of that playoff. It was fantastic.
Very true.
Yeah. So big props to Jamie Langenbrunner. Congratulations to him. He definitely deserves it. And we will be back early next week. Everybody, enjoy your Sunday tomorrow. Enjoy your football, at least for the time being. At this moment, right now,
first place.
My team and Tony's team are undefeated.
That's right.
That's
first
all
place
that matters right now.
Enjoy.
We are undefeated. Look out, 72 Dolphins. Here we
come. Guys, I got one more thing for you just really fast. If you guys can, all my guys are here. Everyone, I don't know if you guys have seen the Whitakers on YouTube. Have you guys seen this for family, the Whitakers?
The shit takers?
The Whitakers.
Oh, no.
You guys got to Google, go on YouTube and look up the Whitakers. You got to check out this family. We got to talk about that. You got to see this family. It's an inbred West Virginia family.
Is this
homework? This is homework.
Okay.
This is homework.
All
I guarantee you will never
I don't
forget
pick on
them.
your family.
Everyone's got cockeyes in this family. I mean, it is crazy. It's an inbred family, but it is so interesting. Me and my wife have been watching these people. Don't eat when you're watching it. Do not eat when you're watching it.
Okay. That's our homework. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for checking us out. It was Tony, Dan, Bob Whitaker. I'm Chris. We'll see you when we see you.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
It was an hour and a half.